So last week I was really busy with midterms and that interactive video that I didn't have time to do much of anything else, so there wasn't a news video. And last week was some pretty major news in the form of the new patch. But anyway, on to the news for this week. Hallow's End is going on, so do your horseman runs for your mount. I know it exists because I see people on them, but I've never seen it no matter how many times I do that Hallow DOS in all of my tunes. They also added 2 new pets that you can get for 150 treats. Both pets are amazing for pet battling. The Cursed Burman is an undead cat with spirit spikes. There are only 2 other pets with spirit spikes. They are both great PvP pets. Spirit spikes is an ability that puts up a little shield and reduces damage by a lot for 1 round, and if you manage to take any damage through the ability, your opponent is hit for about a basic attack's worth of damage. It's the ultimate defensive, offensive move in pet battling. Although in order to use it to its full effect you need to be faster than your opponent, and the cat is only at 289 speed. That's not all that slow for a normal speed pet, but to give you a little idea on how slow that is compared to fast pets. The average fast pet speed is 325. The fastest good PvP pet that you see often has a speed of 348. 289 is way slower than that, and is mostly useless against fast pets, as they just won't attack you when they see that shield. The reason it works so well in the other 2 pets who have this ability is because the porcupines both have Powerball, an ability that increases your speed by 20% permanently every time you use it. So all they need to do is use Powerball a few times until they're faster than any pet on their opponent's team. But even if this pet is slow, it's still an undead and has 2 other solid moves to use in addition to its spikes, making it not as great as the porcupines, but still a really solid pet. The other pet, Widget the Departed, is a lot better, to be honest. He is the only pet in the game with Spectral Strike and a blind to actually use it in the form of Call Darkness. Spectral Strike is a hard-hitting magic attack that has a 50% chance to miss, unless they're blinded. Call Darkness makes all pets blinded. The move synergy right there is enough to make him a powerhouse in hitting, but that's not all. He's also an SS-type pet, meaning he's a speed breed clocking in at 325 speed. While that's slow for a speedy pet, that's still faster than all other pets that aren't exclusively speedy types. And he's undead. The undead passive is so OP in PvP, which makes him even better on top of his moveset and breed. And to finish off my talk on Hallow's End, they reduced the cost on Arthas costume from 1000 treats to 500. And it's now usable outside of Hallow's End and actually has 50 charges, even though it says it only has 1. On to more pet stuff. With the patch, they did a huge change to baseline abilities. It used to be that pets had different basic attacks and accuracies. The lower the accuracy, the harder it hit, which also meant you could sometimes go on annoying missing streaks. So they changed that. All basic attacks now have a 100% hit chance, and they just baselined all the damage so they do no more hard-hitting baseline attacks. I'm all for this change, because I can't tell you how many games I've lost because my Dragonlane's Dragon Breath missed, even though it has a 90% hit chance, or had a 90% hit chance. Also, make sure to do the Warlord's Badlands quest. It gives you a neat Iron Starlet pet. The Power breed is the best, in case you were wondering. 341 power with his movesets is pretty great. Smash and Grab. Until miss, you have a 100% chance to get your weapon heirlooms from Garrosh kills. Does not work with LFR, obviously. Pandaren awaits. You can get all past expansions plus Miss a Pandaren for 20 bucks. It's a super good deal in case you wanted to get WoW for someone, or you want a second account for whatever reason. Patch 6.02 Stat Squish and Leveling Concerns. We have a hotfix in testing that will adjust creature scaling to better account for Stat Squish. To elaborate a bit, this is just about the Stat Squish. That was actually a relatively straightforward process numerically, but we made 3 separate changes that all affect the pacing and danger level of legacy content through the game. The Stat Squish, wherein items from level 60 through Mist of Pandaria Dungeons gear were changed to use a linear instead of an exponential scale. Doubling players' health enabled us to remove resilience from PvP and also makes damage and healing less spiky in general. Removing base points from spells to allow better scaling and tuning across classes. Previously, a Frostbolt might have done X damage plus Y% of your spell power. Now in 6.02 it just does Z% of your spell power. Any tuning issues that are being seen, particularly in level up content, aren't a result of the squish, but rather the combination of all 3 changes. We've been following data and feedback closely and are testing internally the change that Lore mentioned, which should hopefully be deployed within a day or so. In the meantime, if there are any particular creature abilities that you encounter that seem disproportionately deadly, it's quite helpful to keep pointing those out. Patch 6.02 Honor Gains. Okay, a few updates and infos. At level 100, skirmishes and battlegrounds will award strong boxes as the primary reward mechanic. You'll get some honor from a win, but the contents of the strong box will be what you're really interested in. Those are obviously not available at level 90, which is why PvP gearing feels so slow right now. That said, we agree that 18 honor is too low as a base value for a skirmish win. We're going to bump that up to 36. That amount will still increase based on how long a match goes, starting at 45 honor past 1 minute, and increasing from there. Again, keep in mind that we want shorter matches to give more honor per time spent, so that players don't feel obligated to drag out scrimmages for better rewards. As to why it's not higher numbers, this gear won't matter in a few weeks, there's a few key points to keep in mind. First off, there's the relationship between scrimmages and battlegrounds. Battlegrounds take longer and often have longer queues, which make them a larger personal investment to participate in. You want to make sure the extra personal investment feels worthwhile. So we're tuning scrimmages and battleground rewards so that you earn slightly more honor per time spent in a battleground than you would in a scrimmage. If an average battleground takes 15 minutes and an average scrimmage only takes 2 or 3, the battleground should reward significantly more honor. Also keep in mind that there's no weekly cap on honor gains. It's okay for a rated arena match to reward 180 conquest points, because after you get your 10 wins, or reach your catch-up cap, that's it for the week. You might earn honor or a little slower, but you can earn the entire honor set in just a few days if you really wanted to. Finally, we don't want to set an unrealistic expectations for warlords on level 100 PvP. We're okay with letting players gear a little bit faster right now in preparations for warlords, but we don't want you to feel like you've had the rug pulled out under you once the expansion launches and you start gearing up at level 100. We want scrimmages and battlegrounds to reward in the interim period, but we don't want them to be kind of a loot piñata either. Alright, and besides a ton of hotfixes and blue posts, that's about everything for last week. To end this off, I'll show a little bit of a project I've been working on for the past few months on the side.
My son, the day you were born, the very forests of Lordaeron whispered the name Arthas. Child, I watched with pride as you grew into a weapon of righteousness. Remember, our line has always ruled with wisdom and strength. And I know you will show restraint when exercising your great power.